The last bit of my little wood box here is the roughness channel. If you look real critically at how the light is traveling across the surface, the highlights that we're getting from the environment is really even. Specifically, check out all these specular highlights in here. They're nice that the height texture has given us that good sense of relief, but we're not really creating the illusion of a photorealistic surface through the roughness. The roughness is going to determine small little micro scratches, if you will. It directly influences the highlights that's coming off the environment. Look at all these highlights coming off the ridges. They're really uniform in brightness. I want to be able to change this easily using our roughness channel to create the illusion that there are certain parts that are shinier than others. Think of roughness kind of like the reflectivity of the surfaces. We want certain areas to be matte, not reflective, and other areas to be incredibly reflective. That all comes from the roughness channel. Now, I've gone through my asset library and I found this really great procedural texture here. That's a good start for us in establishing these roughness values themselves. I just did a search for dirt, and I'm on the fill layer that I've named wood color. This is the same one that's got the gradient and the fill effect that's given us the modular colors, the modulating colors, for our wood effect. If we turn off the height, you can see that start to unfold in front of us. So I want to maybe use an image in here to establish the roughness of our texture set itself. So on this fill layer, I'm using color information and roughness information, two channels that are being sent over into the rendering engine. The color is being driven by a gradient, but there's just a slider here that's determining the roughness. Now, as we get closer to black, it gets more and more reflective, and you can see that unfold in front of us. Now it is it's like a chrome sphere, which is clearly not what we want. As we get closer to white, it gets more and more matte, so non-reflective. Much like we modulated the color, we want to modulate and transition these roughness values. And the images that we have available to us are going to help us do a really great job at that. I'm going to orbit my environment just so we can get that specular highlight back and start to load in an image map into this roughness channel over here. Let's just do grunge dirt splats and see what we get. Sometimes it's really difficult to see the impact of all of this until we start rotating our environment. With this particular image, the dark areas are becoming entirely reflective. We can see the environment. It's like a mirror, and the parts of the image that are white are becoming very matte. One of the things that can be a challenge is understanding the impact of this. So here's a great little suggestion. Just change your material display properties from material over to roughness. Now we're just seeing the roughness channels, okay? Where it's black, it was reflective. Where it's white, it's matte. So now we're able to see exactly the color values that are being sent into the roughness channels, and I can get a much better understanding of how my roughness map is influencing the final look. Yeah, on the inside of here, check it out. This is not the right one. I guess that's where I was trying to go. Now let's try a different one. I don't like this one. I tend to hang out for my roughness channel. I tend to hang out with the ones whose base color is primarily gray. If we load that into our roughness channel, yeah, and orbit our, oh yeah, check this out. I'm not sure if I can get it, but yeah, look at the sides here. Now it looks like there's parts that are kind of glossy, reflective, and parts that are not, and that's what we're after. We're creating these micro illusions of roughness. Now, I need to make them smaller. These are pretty big, like scratches and stuff. I want to make them much, much smaller to match the image or match the surface that we're putting it on, which is kind of this wood grain. And we have a challenge in there, a big time challenge. Because right now, this roughness channel is on the same layer as our wood color. I want to be able to go in and very quickly, change the transformations of this. I want to increase the scale, which would also increase the gradient that's responsible for the color. Problem, right? So I'm going to start breaking out this image, the roughness channels, from the color itself. It's real easy. Right click. I'm going to duplicate this layer. This one's going to be color. This one's going to be wood roughness. There we go. And of course, on the wood color one, we're going to turn off the roughness channel. Since this one was a duplicate before, all the work that we had done in the application of the image is still there, but we're going to turn off color. So if you think about it, this is just sending color information. this layer is just sending the roughness information. And now I can change the transformations of my layer and create something that kind of works for my vision here. Let's make this like 3. Yeah, now they're much smaller. Yes. There we go. Now, if you'd like, and I think I like, I'm going to add I don't need this gradient anymore. That gradient's actually not doing anything, but I am going to make a levels call on this roughness layer, and I want to look at just roughness, and I want to make my interface a little bit bigger. I apologize. There we go. We'll make it a little bit more contrasty. By moving these sliders around, we're telling the computer when the black and white pixel, when the histogram is evaluating the start and stop of all the black and white color values. Yeah, it's making it much more contrasty. I think that's going to work for us from a distance. Remember, the audience is never going to get this close, so we got to make some evaluated decisions from a distance. And it's also additive with the other channels that we have. How does it look when we put the height information in there? Yeah, it's starting to look much, much better. I got some tweaking in here that I got to do, but generally speaking, if we go back to the illusion that we had before, yeah, check it out. Now it looks like there's a big scratch going down the front. The specular highlights are being broken up a little bit by all of this information. What if we just experiment and go up by 5? Ooh, even better. Yeah, I'm digging that. So the secondary height information, the secondary roughness information is going to give us a tremendous amount of visual interest. It's these small little details that make our surfaces come to life. We're not doing a tremendous amount of hand painting in here. We want to use these channels to create all these illusions for us, which is by design.